Hello my lovelies and welcome to the Clueless Fangirl YouTube channel. I create content like this, lore videos, live streams and podcasts on Lord of the Ring or rather Tolkien's works on a weekly basis. If you want to follow me on social media, all links are in the description of this video. Enjoy! I should like to save the Shire if I could, though there have been times when I thought the inhabitants too stupid and dull for words and have felt an earthquake or an invasion of dragons might be good for them. But I don't feel like that now. I feel that as long as the Shire lies behind safe and comfortable, I shall find wandering more bearable. I shall know that somewhere there's a firm foothold, even if my feet cannot stand there again. Hello my lovelies and welcome to the Shire. Yes, I'm really doing third age. Well, don't get used to it. We will go back to Numenor on the second age in the next video. This is a special video for a collaboration with the amazing Lord of the Ring YouTube creators. Also today is Hobbit Day, aka Bilbo's and Frodo's birthday. So we all decided to focus on the Shire and its inhabitants. Go check out my description for all the videos of creators and new friends like Men of the West, Nerd of the Rings, the boys from History of Middle-earth and many amazing creators more. Let's get back to our topic. The Shire was more based on England than any other part of Middle-earth was based on any other part of our world. The climate, the place names, the flora, the fauna, the terrain, the food, the customs, and all the inhabitants themselves were all basically English. And in fact, the Shire was an idealized version of the rural England of Tolkien's childhood. To quote Tolkien in his letters, the Shire is in fact more or less a Warwickshire village of about the period of the Diamond Jubilee. This is from letter 230. But of course, if we drop the fiction of long ago, the Shire is based on rural England and not any other country in the world. Later in the same letter, he implied that the Shire was an imaginary mirror of England. This is from letter 250. Having read the Lord of the Ring books or any other Middle-earth book really, the Shire might appear as an odd place, although it is obviously the place most familiar to our world. They celebrate birthdays, they find time to write books, they have petty dealings with their relatives, and they know how to play golf. I hope everyone gets this reference. If not, go look it up, it's a good one. So, if the Shire is a form of Victorian England and represents the English countryside of Tolkien's youth, the rest of Middle-earth is basically medieval Europe during wartime, which was probably mostly the case somewhere in Europe. And yes, this is seemingly and at first glance a story about heroes and wars and good versus evil. So basically a good old medieval tale any bard would sing at court. But at a closer look, it's a story about unexpected heroes and friendship and love and purity. And that is what the Shire stands for, at least for me, and I do think many of you will agree. It also stands for its inhabitants, the hobbits. So it is not really a surprise that Tolkien starts both of his published works, The Lord of the Ring and The Hobbit, in the Shire. We start in a familiar place, a peaceful place, and this is important because Tolkien wants us to know that there is something worth fighting for. And no, it's not money or honor or duty, it is home and family, and that is a theme that is played out throughout all books. Most protagonists either lost their homes and are fighting to get it back, like the dwarves of Erebor, or Sam that worries for his father and Rosie and the place he calls home. Before we come to the family tree I want to talk about today, because yes, this is about the Bagginses, I want to let you know what my material for this video was, as I know some of you like to look things up, and I'm not one that only uses the 3 Lord of the Ring books as reference. The family trees mostly is from Appendix C, and I also got a lot of my information from the letters of J.R.R. Tolkien, which I love, by the way, as well as the 12th volume of the History of Middle-earth, The Peoples of Middle-earth. So those were my books I went through to get all the information for today's video. So let's talk about the protagonists of two of the best stories ever written. Sam and Smaug. I'm just kidding. Let's talk about one of the most prominent family from the Shire, the Bagginses. I want to spare you all the members and details of this family tree, as first of all, we don't know that much about them, and I get crazy by looking at all the strange names. I think we should start a bit earlier though and talk about the structure of class amongst the hobbits to really understand some of the characters like Drogo and Bilbo and even Frodo. Because just like in England or anywhere really, there was a class system in the Shire. Our family of interest in this video are the Baggins, a stereotypical upper middle class family. By the way, the name Baggins is a translation in English of the Westron name Labingi, which is related to the Westron word Laban, which means bag. The name is obviously also associated with Bag End, the hobbit hole, which was built way after the name was created though. We know of upper class and even aristocratic, sorry, I have really big problems saying this word, so never mind, families in the Shire, like the Tooks and the Brandybucks. Actually, the families of Pippin and Merry. They held the important positions in the Shire, like the Thainship, which is a form of a military leader, after there were no more Anorian kings under which the hobbits used to live, under which rules the hobbits used to live in the good old days. The Tooks and Brandybucks had titles, land and wealth and mansions, just like the aristocracy we know of today. And a funny side note I want to make on that is how Tolkien portrays them is very similar to the picture we have of them. They are all a bit eccentric. They do not care for their appearance really or what other people really think of them. They make their own rules, and that is exactly what we learn about those two families. Let me quote Tolkien here. The fact remains that the Tooks were not as respectable as the Bagginses, though they were undoubtedly richer. What he means with respected is not respect as we know it today. He means that they were different. They did not care what the rest of the Shire thought. They were anything but boring, really. And now let's see how Tolkien describes the well-respected upper middle class Bagginses. This hobbit was a very well-to-do hobbit, and his name was Baggins. The Bagginses have lived in the neighborhood of the hill for time out of mind, and people considered them very respectable, not only because most of them were rich, but also because they never had any adventures or did anything unexpected. You could tell what a Baggins would say on any question without the bother of asking him. The Bagginses never did anything unexpected. That is the main theme here. In strong contrast to our upper class Tooks. Funny enough though that Bilbo and Frodo's fathers, Baggins men, married up. A theme we so often get in the Tolkien men marrying up, and they married up in those two families. Bilbo's father, Bungo Baggins, yes, that was really his name, married Belladonna Took, the eldest daughter of the old Took, one of the most important figures that ever lived in the Shire, and also an old friend of Gandalf. Therefore, Gandalf knew of Bilbo due to his family ties with the Tooks. Fun fact that it was Bungo Baggins, mainly with Belladonna's money, that built the rather luxurious hobbit hole Bag End, Bilbo's and later Frodo and later Sam's home. Then Frodo's father later did the same by marrying up into the Brandybuck family, by marrying Primula. Yes, all the female names are flowers, oh my god. She was the daughter of Gorboduc Brandybuck, the master of Buckland, and the daughter of Mirabella Took, another daughter of the old Took. That is why Frodo actually is related to Merry and Pippin. Then we also have, in the form of the Sackville Baggins family, another version of the upper middle class family, the not so pleasant ones. The ones that are a bit pretentious and want to reach way beyond their status. I find it very funny that the name sounds a bit French, ville, meaning, or village, meaning village, and we know that Tolkien wasn't the biggest fan of the French influence and aspects of the English culture, and he tried not to use Latin or French inspired names in his writings overall. I mean, I get it, who really likes Lobelia or her son Lothar? They personify greed and nasty behavior of the Shire folk, a thing hobbits don't actually stand for in Tolkien's world. We obviously also get the working class, and you can see by how Tolkien describes them, and that Sam, a member of that class, embodies all the good, pure and happy in Middle-earth. And we know that he is the actual hero of the story, or if you don't know that, now you know it. Tolkien's love for the so-called salt of the earth types can be found in little things, like the gaffer dealing with the Black Rider asking for Frodo. I mean, badass. To be fair, he probably didn't really see him, he was a bit blind, but still. Also the description of Rosie Cotton and her devotion and love to Sam and their children, or just random working class hobbits in the pub, loving life and celebrating normal and boring things, the good untouched by evil life, so to say. They didn't strive to be more, gain more power or more wealth. They were content with their peaceful life in the Shire. Sam stands out of that stereotype a little bit, I find, by his curiosity alone. But let's not talk about Sam in this video. Let's go back from this little excursion of class system in the Shire to our Baggins family. Let's talk about the first mentioned Baggins, where Bilbo and Frodo can be traced back, Bilbo Baggins. He was the first recorded head of the Baggins family until 1258 Third Age by Shire reckoning. Shire reckoning is the Hobbit calendar, counting the years from the time Marco and Blanco, the two Fallowhide brothers, crossed the Brandywine River in Third Age 1601. The Hobbit calendar had 12 months, each with 30 days. The journey of the Fellowship of the Ring started in 1418 by Shire reckoning, the year 1 in Shire reckoning, and the Hobbit calendar was therefore actually the year 1601 in the Third Age. Bilbo's wife was Berilla Boffin. The Boffins also were a prominent family in the Shire, although from the area of Eastfarthing, near the borders of Buckland. They had 4 children, and actually, here we can see Bilbo is not Frodo's real uncle. Bilbo is a descendant of the first child of Balbo, and Berilla, Mungo. Seriously, sorry for all these names. Mungo married Laura Grubb. The Grubb family was an important and wealthy family of hobbits in the Shire. Their primary family business involved auctioneering. Fun Easter egg is the name of the company set to sell the treasures of Bag End was Grubb and Burrows. Their firstborn son was the before-mentioned Bungo Baggins, who married into the Took family and who is Bilbo's father. The Sackville Baggins family is actually closer related to Bilbo than to Frodo himself, as Lobelia's husband, Otho, was a son of the younger brother of Bilbo's father, Longo. I hope you're looking at this family tree, because otherwise you'll be like, what is this woman talking about? We know that Lobelia and her son saw themselves as the actual heads of the family when Bilbo went missing and was declared dead, which kind of makes sense because they are from the elder line of the Baggins than Frodo is, for example. Still, hobbits did handle this a bit differently. Another child of Bilbo, the first Baggins, was Rosa Baggins, Bilbo's granddaughter, who married into the Took family as well and who is an ancestor of Merry and Pippin. Bilbo Baggins' youngest daughter, Lily Baggins, married into the Goodbodies family. We don't really know anything about them, but the line continued in the Goodbodies. And if you remember now Bilbo mentioning all these names in his birthday speech, yes, they literally all were related through their ancestor Bilbo Baggins. Frodo's father Drogo, of whom we talked before, was the second child of Fosco Baggins and Ruby Bolger. And you might remember another member of the Bolger family, Frediga, aka Fatty Bolger, Frodo's friend that helped him escape the Shire. The ring raids did come in the night of the 13th of September to Crick Hollow for Frodo and the ring. Fatty raised the alarm of Buckland, causing the Brandybugs to sound the horn call of Buckland. This then made the Nazgul flee. I am a sucker for these little side characters like the Gaffer and Farmer Maggot and Fatty, as just like Sam, they are the true heroes of the story. And even though they just play a small part, their deeds did help to destroy the ring in the end. So there you have it. The Bagginses were an old and, to Hobbit standards, rich, upper middle class family, well connected and related to loads of the important families in the Shire. They were mostly respected. Well, till Gandalf came along and took Bilbo on an adventure. I do not want to talk about Frodo and Bilbo really in this video. That should be another video for itself. But I kind of like family trees, and I think I might go a bit deeper into other important Shire families in another video. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in that. Obviously, I'll stick to my Númenor and First and Second Age content still. So, I hope you enjoyed Bilbo's and Frodo's birthday, my lovelies. Till the next time, have a lovely day. Bye bye.